Brother.
I can't believe it. Ilia Topuria has announced that his camp has begun. Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, King Kong, fucking Godzilla, fucking Conor. We're coming for that lightweight title, UFC 317 International Fight Week. So let's actually seriously break it down. Ilia Topuria announced last night that his camp has started. This Spanish reporter, I believe he's Spanish. And apparently he's pretty reputable. I think he's the same guy that reported that Ilia will be on JRE. And I saw that fat fuck MMA Joey. I saw MMA Joey say that this guy like works for Ilia or something for his like fight promotion, which would make him more reliable, not less reliable, you fucking fat retard. So sorry. No, I'm not sorry, but you know what I mean. Ilia Topuria will fight for the UFC lightweight title at UFC 317 on June 28th. So, I mean, I didn't even do a video on this, but DDP is apparently out with a pretty bad injury. His shin is cooked. And the UFC, I don't really know what's happening. Kyle Barajo today did an interview with Ario, and he says that the UFC are waiting to see the severity of the injury before they make a move. So, chances are we could get an interim thing. Maybe Hamza just waits. I'm hoping DDP's not that badly injured. You guys know I love DDP, so I really hope he's not that badly injured. I think I don't know. My thoughts on that, I think he'll be fine. I don't think it's that bad. I think he probably fractured his leg. I think he'll probably end up fighting end of the year against Hamza, and I think they'll just make Hamza wait, or Hamza would just choose to wait because, like, why risk it, right? And I hope DDP's not that badly injured. I don't think he is. I don't think he'll be that badly affected because his style doesn't really... He's not like a Fiziev who's, like, on his toes, always bouncing. Like, he kind of has the blitz, but other than that, like, he's not a very heavy kicker. Like, he does throw good body kicks, but he's not a very heavy kicker. He's not like an Adesanya and Alex Pereira. Shout out to Chael Sonnen and Alex Pereira. He's not like one of these guys who throw kicks a lot, so I think he'll be fine. But that's just my, like, sort of small thoughts on that whole thing. But I wouldn't mind if we got Kyle versus Hamza interim. But this fight, Ilia Topuria versus whoever, is not going to be for the interim, apparently. So, he's fighting at UFC 317. We know this. He said his camp has begun. Now, was he always going to fight on this card with, like, or is this just, like, the UFC bringing him in because DDP is injured and they just missed out on a big fight? I don't know. Right? I don't know. But, you know, if he was always planned to fight on this card or not, I don't know. But it's 8 weeks away, 9 weeks away. It's not bad, obviously. It's not it's not short notice at all. It's a normal camp, really. And he's been training. He said he's been training for either Oliveira or Islam. He said this a couple months ago. He says he doesn't care who it is. He wants a belt. He's going to sit out and wait for the title, and it worked. He sat out, and now he's getting a title shot. Now, he's going to fight for a title, not an interim title. It's going to be for the title. Right, so this is what this guy says here. Update, there will be no interim lightweight belt. It will be undisputed or vacant. Wow. So, I don't know what's happening. You know, if Islam stays at lightweight, he will defend against Ilia. So, no, you're saying it nicely. If Islam ducks Ilia Topuria, he'll move to welterweight. Is really what it is. Because clearly Islam Makhachev, and I think this is the case, doesn't want to fight Ilia, and I think clearly the UFC are finally, and I got to give UFC credit for once, they're finally putting their fucking foot down and saying, Islam, brother, you have to fight for the you have to defend your belt. You last fought in January. Let's actually break this down, right? Mind you, before I say all this, before I go on this big rant on Islam, I'm a fan of his, but he's a fucking pussy duck right now. He last fought in January against Renato Moicano in the easiest fight of his entire career. He had a harder fight against Drew Dober, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker. The easiest fight of his career was against career was against Renato Moicano in January. Now, I understand he was going through Ramadan. He was celebrating that, but that's been over for at least 2 months now, right? A month and a half, 2 months, I don't know. At least a month and a half. 313, right, is when it ended because Ankalaev was doing it as well. So he could have been like ready, you know? And Ankalaev fought during Ramadan, but obviously not everyone's the same. I'm not going to put that on Islam. He doesn't have to fight during that time. I'm just saying, like, it's possible. And since then, there's been no news about his next fight. There's been rumors of, oh, maybe Gaethje, now that he came off of a win. Maybe Oliveira, because Oliveira's really pushing for it. Maybe Ilia. But we don't really know what's going on, right? And Gaethje beats Fiziev. Ali Abdelaziz pushing for this fight, right? Then Patty just beat Chandler. You got fucking Javier Mendez, who's the head coach of Islam. He's pushing for it. It's just a mess. Like, no, Khabib was asked in an interview, who would you rather see Islam fight, Topuria or Arman? And they're like, yeah, Arman for sure. That's what Khabib said. So they're naming everybody but the guy that the entire fan base of MMA wants to see Islam face, and that is Ilia Topuria. And so Ilia's moved up in a pretty shocking manner, and he says he's going to wait out, and a lot of people shitted on him for it. I kind of did as well. I thought, dude, don't wait out. But it's worked out for him. He started his camp. Now, the question is, who's it going to be against, Charles or Islam? If I had to guess, I'm going to say Charles Oliveira. I'm going to say Islam Makhachev chooses not to face Ilia. He chooses to move up to welterweight. They strip him of the belt. Honestly, it's again, I got to respect the UFC. Hopefully, they're finally putting their foot down and saying, brother, no, we're not going to do this thing of I'm the lightweight champion. There's multiple guys that I could face right now. Even though I really only want to see him fight either Ilia or Arman, right? But yes, there's Gaethje, there's Oliveira, Patty's coming up. There are other names too that are and he's holding up the division. That's he's 100,000% holding up. Because if you look at it, right, Ilia Topuria moved to lightweight. He could have probably kept the featherweight belt, but he would have been holding up the division, and everyone would have shitted on him for it. Everyone would have, oh, Ilia's a fucking... Yeah, imagine if Ilia was still featherweight champion, and he was just I want to see what happens between Islam and... Let's just say Islam was fighting Gaethje at 317. I want to see what happens between Islam and Gaethje. You know how mad people would be? Oh, Ilia's holding up lightweight, Ilia's holding up featherweight. So, yeah, that's exactly what Islam is doing, and I'm glad the UFC are threatening to strip him. If that's the case, that's my theory. That's not really been confirmed here, but if you read between the lines, that's what it seems like. It's either, all right, you move to welterweight, we're just going to strip you of the belt, and then... Because I also think the UFC hates doing interim fucking title fights. Honestly. On rare occasions do they do it. Let's be honest. If the UFC could go back in time, they would not make Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall for the interim belt. Because that now has put them in a really bad spot. Because now apparently, and I might do a whole separate video, but Tom Aspinall is going to fight Cyril Gane. Right? And I don't know if that's going to be for the interim belt again or not. But the point is the UFC, they don't like interim belts because it puts them in a weird spot. And... yeah, that's why I don't think they're rushing to do Hamzat versus Baraujo, or they've done it before, and they probably will do it again. But I'm just saying, they don't love doing it, especially for International Fight Week. Come on, they want to have an undisputed UFC lightweight title fight as the main event, not Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the interim lightweight title. They don't want that shit. They want Ilia Topuria's first UFC fight at lightweight. He got the most views of any Joe Rogan Experience for an MMA fighter ever, I think. And some of these guys like Volkanovski and Yuri, their interviews have been out for years, and he got more views than them in a week. He's the UFC's like one of the UFC's biggest stars for sure. He's moving up to lightweight, the most stacked division in the sport. Bro, do you think they want his first fight to be against a contender or to be for an interim belt? No. They want it to be for a lightweight title, and it's going to be against either Islam or Charles. I wouldn't mind if it was against Armin or even Gaethje to an extent, even though he doesn't deserve it at all, but I wouldn't mind those. But no, dude, the UFC, they're not playing around no more, it seems. So yeah, I don't know. I really, this came out yesterday, but yeah, it seems, I mean, obviously I don't know this guy as a source. I trust him because, again, apparently he's pretty close to Ilia. Like, he's a commentator for Ilia's thing, and there was a picture of him in like Dana White's war room where he makes all the fights. But yeah, I just wanted to do this video. I was actually kind of waiting for it to be officially announced, but it looks like it's not going to be. So if it does get officially announced, I'll probably just do another video on it. But for now, I'm going to just do this. So yeah, I don't know. I think if you guys want like a prediction on it, I think Ilia will beat Charles Oliveira if it's him, and I think he will beat Islam Makhachev. You heard that pause. That was a long ass pause, but pause. What am I? I think Ilia will beat Charles Oliveira, and I think he'll beat Islam Makhachev. I think Oliveira is very hittable. He gets dropped every single fight of his entire career. No, I'm kidding. Not every single fight of his career, but a lot of his last couple of fights. You know, maybe not his last couple of fights because the competition was like, he had Chandler, who's like, but even Chandler in the 5th round almost had him out of there, right? The Armin fight, it was like Armin did good on the feet, but he never had Charles like hurt, you know, and Armin had a grappling fucking retarded, a grappling heavy approach. And then Dariush is an old man. Islam dropped him before that. Then I think Poirier dropped him a couple of times, or at least once. You know, Gaethje dropped him twice. And then Chandler almost finished him before the Gaethje fight. And then before the Chandler fight, then it was like Ferguson, I think. Yeah. So, and I think Ilia is a much better grappler than guys like Gaethje, Chandler, Poirier. And not just a better grappler, but a better striker. So I think he does get Charles out of there. Charles Oliveira. I think he does get Charles out of there, man. I'm sorry. As for Topuria versus Makhachev, I'm a fan of both guys. And I think both guys are elite. Man, this one is hard to predict because I just burped, but it was like my mouth was closed. I think he... Just off of aura alone, no, I'm kidding. Honestly, how do I predict this fight, right? Because his grappling, though I said he's probably a better grappler than Dustin, Gaethje, and Chandler, it's not fully proven. I know he has like 9 submissions in his entire career, and he subbed Bryce Mitchell, and you know, he started off as a grappler. So I think, I'm assuming he has great grappling. I'm assuming. He's a black belt, I think at 18 he became a black belt. So if we're just going off of the assumption he's a good grappler, if he's at least a better grappler than Dustin Poirier, and he has good cardio, which he's proven he has pretty good 5-round cardio. Well, in the Josh Emmett fight, he proved that. But at the same time, every other fight, he's just knocked people out so quick. How is he going to prove he has 5-round cardio when the Max fight, Max only lasted 3 rounds, Volk only lasted 2 rounds, you know? It's not really his fault that he doesn't get to show how good his cardio is, but I would imagine he has great cardio, right? If his cardio holds up for 5 rounds and his grappling is at least better than a Dustin Poirier's, who didn't get subbed by Makhachev for 5 rounds. He got subbed in the 5th round, but not for 4 rounds, I should have said. if his grappling is at least better than a Dustin Poirier, I think he's got this one. I think he's got this one. I really do. Makhachev is hittable. Makhachev also at times leaves his body open, and no one ever goes to the body against Makhachev. No one really goes to the body in general in MMA, but against Makhachev, like very few guys go to the body. I think Poirier could have, and he could have had good success. Makhachev himself actually goes to the body pretty well in the clinch with his knees. But I'm more so talking about punches, like punches to the body. Topuria, if he can get Makhachev's body, if he can land on Makhachev's body, open up Makhachev's head a little bit, if he's just good enough to not get subbed in the first 2 rounds, I think he's going to win this fight, man. Makhachev's going to slow. So is Topuria, but a hydrated 155-pound Topuria, this is going to be like, he's perfect for lightweight. He's not too big for lightweight where he's draining himself, and he's not too small for lightweight, and this is my opinion, because everyone is saying he's too small for lightweight. I disagree. I think he's like perfect size for lightweight. Like, bro, if Volk can have success against Makhachev, and I'd probably pick Volk to beat a Justin Gaethje or a Charles Oliveira, then why wouldn't I pick Topuria, Plus, Topuria has way more power than Volk. But obviously Volk is good at mixing up, like, the grappling and the whatever the case may be. But my point is, I think Topuria could beat Islam Makhachev. And, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think Topuria has saved the day for the UFC, just like we have saved the day, and we will become the lightweight champion of the UFC. Make sure you guys like and sub. Become a member in the description. Once it officially gets announced, I'll do a video on that as well. I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. Make sure you guys like and sub. What are you guys' thoughts? I think Topuria is gonna get these guys out of here. He's the new guard. I mean, honestly though, he has less miles on his body. He's younger. He's a bit faster. He's got good power, good footwork. He's not going to stand in front of Charles. Charles, once these fights gets announced, I'll break it down more. But see you guys next time. Peace.